Hello George.
Hello Abe.
And hello everyone. Welcome to the Amendment Show.
On today's episode, we will be discussing the 14th Amendment.
Wow. Tell me something about this amendment.
It is known as one of the Reconstruction Amendments. It was important in Reconstruction of the South after the Civil War. The amendment was proposed by James Madison on June 8, 1789. After a secret debate and vote, it was passed by the House, but not the Senate.
But that's okay. Because 79 years later, it was passed by Congress on June 13, 1866.
And it was ratified by the states on July 9, 1868.
And what exactly does this amendment say?
But what does that mean?
The first part is called the Citizenship Clause. It means that anyone born in the U.S. is automatically a citizen. After the Civil War, recently freed slaves were being denied rights. So this amendment was proposed to protect the rights of black people.
This is shown in the case of Dred Scott versus Sanford. Dred Scott, a slave, tried to sue his owner for freedom, but slaves couldn't sue because they didn't count as citizens.
So, the 14th Amendment was written with the intention of overturning the Dred Scott versus Sanford decision.
The next part is called the Due Process Clause. That means that the state must respect all legal rights that are owed to a person.
This was shown in the 1973 court case Roe versus Wade. The court decided that the right to privacy under the Due Process Clause extends to a woman's decision to have an abortion.
The next part is called the Equal Protection Clause. This is questioned in the 1896 case Plessy versus Ferguson. A man named Homer Plessy, who is 1/8 black, bought a first-class ticket for a train, sat in the white section, and refused to move.
The court ruled against Plessy, and said the Equal Protection Clause allows the state to provide separate but equal facilities. They said the 14th Amendment protects equality of races within the law, but not socially.
This allowed justified segregation for 60 years. It also created the Jim Crow laws or black codes, laws that separated people based on race, aimed primarily at black people.
The 1954 case of Brown versus Board of Education changed that, saying segregation is not legal. This case was a huge step toward integrated school systems.
The 14th Amendment is very important, but there are some controversies about it. The current problem is with illegal immigrants. Here is an example. Even though the mother is illegally in the U.S., since that baby was born on the U.S. side of the border, it is a U.S. citizen because of the 14th Amendment.
These babies are called anchor babies, because they pull the mother into permanent U.S. residency.
This is the cause of an overabundance of illegal aliens in the U.S.
There is so much more to this amendment. Section 2 states,
That means that representation in the House is based on population of the states. In 1911, the number of representatives was fixed at 435.
Districts are reapportioned after the census every 10 years.
This section of the amendment reduces a state's apportionment if it wrongfully denies any adult male's right to vote. This wasn't enforced when southern states used various pretexts to prevent blacks from voting.
Moving on to Section 4. It states,
that confirms the legitimacy of all United States public debt appropriated by Congress. It also confirmed that the U.S. wouldn't pay for any loss of slaves or debts that had been incurred by the Confederacy.
The 2011 U.S. debt ceiling crisis raised the question of what powers Section 4 gives the president. The issue on whether or not the president can or cannot raise the debt ceiling still remains unsettled.
Section 5 of the amendment says, "The Congress shall have power to enforce, by appropriate legislation, the provisions of this article." This has the effect of increasing the power of Congress and diminishing that of the individual states. This part of the amendment led to the Enforcement Acts of 1870 and 1871, that protected the rights of black people and gave freedmen citizenship.
Now you know about the 14th Amendment. Thank you for watching.